We're hot.
We live.
We're hot.
Live.
You don't say live. Say roll tide today. Say roll tide.
Roll damn tide.
So today's gonna be awesome. It's been awesome already. I kind of got the revolving door today, but I like that. It keeps me flying high. So we got a special guest today that I just informed him we had some ties. We get some roots in SPG, some roots in jiu-jitsu, but he is an exceptional athlete and he's an inspiration. I know Q's excited because he's a roll tide boy. So, this guy is one of the more inspiring guys who I've seen. He's had so many emotional battles in the ring that, I went back and I watched some clips. I'm like, this motherfucker. I said it last night to Dave. I go, Dave, this is the first guy in the building that I'm pretty sure he could fucking beat everybody up. I'm pretty sure. He's a tough SOB. I'm excited to have him. He's had a crazy career, and I want him to talk a little bit about the path. We got Eryk Anders, SBG's own.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's happening?
Yeah.
So you go to Alabama, you win a national championship, and as if that's not enough, this motherfucker goes on to the UFC.
But wait, there's more.
And there's more.
There's more.
There's more. How's the journey been, and how the hell did you get here?
Man, it's been long, up and down. The thing is, everybody think it's just, I don't want to play football anymore, so I'm just going to go fight in the UFC, and that's how it worked out. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The football thing didn't work out, and, man, I must have worked every kind of job that you could possibly have, from cleaning factories to being a janitor to working for the government to being a customer service rep, worked for Coca-Cola, did a bunch of stuff because, man, I started training and I realized that this is what I wanted to do. But, man, I had a kid. I had, You
got a beautiful family, too, by the way. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So, it wasn't like, man, I could just go live in a gym and, live with no income, So.
You're like the living proof, though, bro, of like being – you have every excuse. You could have every excuse.
Sure.
Man, I got the kids, and man, I got the wife, and man, I got this, and my toe hurts today. And
yeah.
Fuck my life, like I can't do it. But you do it in spite of all that.
Well, man, I had the dream, from the day I started training. My first day in the gym, I sparred with Walt Harris, who's a big heavyweight. I think he's number 7 in the division, getting ready to fight Overeem in December. So, man, really skilled guy, especially on the feet. And man, I spent the probably about 4 minutes and 58 seconds of a 5-minute round in the corner, just trying not to get pummeled to death. And not that he was being malicious, it was just like the gap was that much,
right?
Was that big that there's nothing that I could have done. And
you took home the homework. You were just like, I got a lot to learn here.
But man, and that's exactly what made me fall in love with the sport. Is that, man, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And,
Q, did you see any of his fights? Did you see any of this guy's fights? Did you watch any clips? I mean, this is like I meant it when I said it last time. Like, this might be the toughest guy we've had in the building.
Yeah, I definitely. Once you told me he was coming on, I checked it out, man. I gotta ask Eryk. I switched this thing up. John knows, I'm a Bama guy, true and true, man.
Okay.
So
nothing wrong with
much
that.
much respect. I gotta ask you though. So you came in 06. Was it 06?
05, yeah.
05. So you came in under Shula.
Yeah, I played 2 seasons under Shula, redshirted, then my freshman year, then 3 years with Saban.
So I gotta ask, like, what? Because that's some pretty good commitment, man. What made? Because the Shula years were
lean.
Yeah.
What made you say, because I know you were recruited, what made you say, you know what, I'm going to roll with Bama? Things aren't looking so bright, but this is where I want to.
Well, Saban, obviously, the thing about him is what makes him such a good college coach, and he didn't do so well in the NFL, is because in the NFL, man, you're dealing with grown men, their egos. Some of those guys make more than the coach. And so you have to deal with the player's ego, and you have to deal with GMs and other coaches and presidents and front office people. In college, he's judge, jury, and executioner, so whatever he says goes.
The thing is, he did do, I think that's a misnomer. I'm going to say this, and thank you, Q, for asking the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
The hard-hitting Bama questions. I think he did do good in the pros. It's like when people say Belichick didn't do well in Cleveland. They
were a playoff team.
He laid the groundwork in Cleveland to them going on, and they went to Baltimore and did great things. I think he did do well in the pros. I think he did do well as an assistant under Belichick when they were in Cleveland. I think he did lay the groundwork. He had the foundation. He went to, Miami? And that, come on.
Yeah.
I love Miami, but.
Well, he came to the same situation at Bama.
Yeah.
Probably even worse.
He walked into a clusterfuck, but I'm saying he had the brains to clean it all up. He had worked with Billy, worked with other guys. And the groundwork was there. He had the bones to say.
It's a quarterback league, man. If you remember that was that summer of Breeze, and Miami didn't get Breeze.
There you go.
And that was it. He had no quarterback.
And he had a screwy culture there. And don't forget, Belichick went through a couple screwy cultures. He walked away from the Jets because he knew the culture was going to be garbage there.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to stay. What else did you ask? Well, you asking something else, Q? I jumped in.
Oh no! That was it. I was really curious though about Eryk. What made you go with Bama at the time?
Stay with it.
Because at the time they weren't doing too hot. That was before Saban. What made you? Is that I think it speaks to a deeper fight within you to not jump on something that was great at the time, but say I'm gonna be a part of building this thing back up. You know what I mean?
It wasn't even being a part of building this thing up. They were cycling through coaches. They were talking about Rich Rodriguez at the time coming. And every single person on defense was like, I'm out. If they bring in Rich, I'm out. It's over. Because, historically, he doesn't have good defenses. His offense will put up 45, 50 points a game, but
it's like a
the
Texas
defense,
Tech.
the defense will give up,
the same,
42 points, So, and everybody in college, they want to go to the NFL. So, if your defense is giving up that many points a game, man, you're not going. And or your chances are,
I'll ask a deeper
dwindle.
I'll ask a deeper question. At what point did you know it was the right decision to stay?
Well, Saban, he already had a national championship at LSU, and had put together a winning culture in Louisiana. So, man, we were like, man, we got Saban, man. He's a defensive guy. I play defense, so I'm looking at it from a defensive, point of view. So, man, his defenses were always awesome. He even played defense in the NFL and whatnot. So, I know he's got it together with the X's and O's on defense. So, that's going to give me the opportunity to stay. And, it's Nick Saban. He'd been to the league. Everybody thought that, he would have the inside scoop, help people get drafted and things like that just because he's coming from there. So
it was funny.
It just made sense to stay.
Yeah, when I was at UMass, everyone thought that about Whipple. When Whip left and Whip came back, he was QB coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was in Miami, and people thought he was going to get the job in Miami. I thought he would too, but then he left there. He came back to UMass for his second run. We won the national championship in '98 and went back twice. I think we played when I was there, and it's crazy. College football is nuts, and people don't realize you don't make no money. And people think it's a glamorous thing.
Yeah.
I played at Alabama. What does that get you when you're out? You still got to get a job. You still got to do your thing. You were drafted though.
I got a free agent, deal with Cleveland.
With Cleveland, and when you get there, and my brother-in-law had something similar. He went to Cincinnati out of UMass. You get there and you feel like it's not for you, or did you feel like, geez, I want to make this work? What's going through your mind being in Cleveland?
Man, I was
because it's Cleveland. I got this preconceived notion that you're gonna be like, I'm out.
Man, you crazy. I didn't give a shit where I played. I was like, man, I got the NFL. That's when I started playing, that was the dream to make it to the league, play 100 years in the NFL, and retire and never have to do anything again.
Oh man.
Obviously that didn't work out. But that's what was on my mind. I was like, man, I got to make the team. I got to do this. I got to do that, so that I can live out this fantasy I had in my head.
We're all living through you, Q and I.
Yeah.
I had zero hope. Q had limited hope, right? Fighting to get to the next level.
Yeah.
We were all, we all kind of it's crazy. You know, when you grow up, you have that dream, right? And then you get there, and it's a little bit of a letdown because it's still more work.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Like, people think like, I made it. I done made it. Now the work gets hard. It's like when you get a black belt. Now the real work begins.
Sure.
You know?
And, you always hear that statistic that only 1% of kids who play football in high school get Division I scholarship, and only 1% of that 1% makes it to the NFL. But in my head, I was like, fuck that. I'm in that top 1%. I'm going to make it, and I'm going to play.
Yeah, it's a different mentality.
Yeah, so, obviously that didn't work out. Went to Canada. Also got cut. So, that was like, 1-2 to the chin, bow, bow. And now I played a year of arena football and pretty much just said, man, if it's not the NFL, then I don't want to do this.
Yeah, I thought I was king shit at UMass.
Yeah.
I thought I was king. I thought I was something.
Life has a way of humbling you like that.
Always.
Yeah.
Of course. Always. But, you look back and you have great memories because that's an amazing, amazing experience. And everybody, I know it's hard to, at a young age, to look back and start to, like, do that. You know what I mean? Do that soul searching. But you're going to have, your kids will grow up at some point, I know they're young ones, and you're going to have those stories, and that's going to be something that's going to stay with you for a really long time. You can say you've been there, you've done it, You wrote the check, you know what I mean? And you put your body through so much at that point.
Yeah.
Where the fuck do you get the balls to say UFC's the next step?
Well, and so I came home. I was living in Alabama, and I was doing everything, just working. Everybody would always say, hey, we like that you're fighting, but, you can't show up to work with a black eye.
Yeah.
And so I'd always be like, oh, okay, whatever, until, either got fired or found a better job. And so
just piecing it together.
Man, I just knew that this is what I wanted to do, but at the same time, I didn't have any experience, so I knew it may take a while to get to where I'm trying to go.
That's what I struggle with. It's hard to humble yourself. Like, you were in Alabama, dude. You won a national championship. You got a ticket to the league, and then you're like, okay, now I got to go do something where I'm like zero again.
Man, it is what it is. I kind of just said, man, fuck it. This is where we're at right now. It doesn't mean it's where we're going to stay.
Because you know what it's like when you walk on the mat. Now, you've been in my studio, so you jaded for a second. Okay, you're like, all right, this dude, he's doing something, know. But you go on the mat. It don't matter who you are.
Yeah.
It don't matter who you are. People look at you and they say, all right, good-sized kid, but let's see what he's got.
Yeah, exactly.
You get slapped around initially, and you have to come all the way back to battle.
Yeah, but, man, that's kind of one of the things that lured me into the sport. I was like, all right, man, you can start from scratch, brand new. You don't know nothing, nada. And, I grew up, growing up fighting,
fighting for food.
Not even like fighting for food, but just because an argument on the basketball court or playing football, whatever. It is what it is. It just everybody I knew growing up got in a fight at some point, and I'm the fifth out of 6 kids, so I was like, I know how to do this anyways. And then
what'd your family say? Were they like, you crazy?
Well, man, they know me, man. They know, like, if I say I want to do it, then I'm gonna sell out and I'm gonna do it. So they were like, oh, cool. My mom, she gave me that long mom speech. She's like, I don't know why you want to do that. You're going to get your teeth knocked out.
It's always the teeth.
Yeah.
It always starts with the
She was like, I paid for you to have braces and this, that, and the thing. And then it was like she was talking to herself. And then she just...
It's true. The mothers always start with the teeth.
And then she just kind of, in the middle of her speech, she was like, but you know what? Man, I know you. You're going to do what you want to do anyway. So just...
You're going to get that tattoo no matter what.
Yeah.
I ain't going to stop you.
So she's, but man, she comes to all the fights, man. She loves it. Obviously, I'm probably doing a lot better than she may have thought or had envisioned me doing.
Now, I asked you at what point you felt like it was the right decision to stay at Bama. At what point during the journey of fighting, and I know UFC is just one of many leagues and you fought in a few, at what point did you know you made the right decision to fight? Was it going into like the Diego fight, which was super inspirational, dude? I mean, that dude's a savage. You'll get there, and you're learning, but you go up against him, man, and you fought your balls off in that fight, man.
Yeah, but
he's a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah, he is a tough dude, man. But and highly skilled, man. For a dude that size to move like that, and throw the kind of technique.
Gave John Jones a run for his money, and that might be the best ever. He might be the best.
And people, always ask me like, who you think you won in that John Jones fight? It's like, oh, I think he won. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, so
to go fight
it
the
was
way
close.
you fought against Santos, as tough and inspirational as that was, and it was, because I watched that fight from start to finish before you came in, and then him to go up against John Jones and have the fight he fought, you got to be like, all right, like that would be the moment, like.
And you know, even his fights on the way to the belt, I think, you know, not to my own horn or anything, but I think I gave him much better run for his money than Manawa and Yan, the Polish guy.
I didn't think of it like that. That's true.
So, you know, but man, his career has been awesome to keep up with. You know, I've seen him a few times over here at the PI, fixing his knee. And that's another thing about it, man. He gave John Jones a run for his money on one leg. So, man, you know, he's a super talented guy.
I think if he
tough.
came at John a little more, you know, I know it's easy for me to say. You can tell me to shut the fuck up.
Nah.
Like I know, but I think if he came at John a little more, I think his game plan played into John a little too much.
I think he was on one leg, so he was kind of like waiting for him to get close, and he would flurry him a little bit, and wait for him to get close and flurry him.
So you know the inside info, so it's like, you know, that didn't come out till after, I think, the whole leg thing.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, that's just too top. People don't realize like that's the top of the game.
Yeah.
That's the top of the game. What's the game plan now for you?
Man, just keep fighting, keep pushing forward, man. You know,
keep training.
That's it. You know, I like fighting about 4 times a year. I got one coming up.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But man, I love training. Don't get me wrong, but I like training for a purpose. Like, okay,
I was never a practice
or
training guy. Like I was the opposite. I wouldn't buy no books.
Yeah.
Just go take the test. Like that's how I was. So like for me, I don't compete. I do jiu-jitsu for fun because my friends bullied me into it. I did judo for a minute, and then as a kid, and I did like karate growing up, you know, stuff like that, boxing, and then got into jiu-jitsu and obviously dated, you know, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So for me, it was more, I wanted to do this as like another challenge in my life, kind of like yoga with chokes. So I was like, let me do this. I'm nowhere near the level of you guys, and I have fun kind of grappling and messing around with moving around, and you know, I mean, I let, you know, the guys pretzel me up, and I have fun with Vinny and of course Ben and Benny and Ruben ties me up, and maybe if you're around Sunday, you can beat the shit out of me a little bit.
I'll be around
That'd
Sunday.
be fun, yeah. No, we'll do it. And you know, I enjoy it, and Q listens to me complain coming in, but it's a lot of fun, you know, just kind of tying up, locking horns in it. And people don't realize jiu-jitsu and fighting, it's not about going out and saying like, pretzel this guy up on the mat. It's more about like, yeah, man, let's have a roll, let's have a good time. And you walk away and you just, you know, you kind of like, all right, you know, you see where you're at. And for us having you guys come in, it's the dream.
Sure.
I mean that. It's the dream. It's like,
hey, Eryk, don't buy this shit, man. Every morning this motherfucker's on the ground like, just shoot me, man. I'm sore.
It's true.
But he show up. He show up though.
Yeah, and
that's the thing about it, man.
That's the thing.
How you train so much. I'm like, man, if you show up, that's half the battle right there, man.
Just walk in the door, you know, battered and bruised.
Yeah.
You don't go into it. What I'm trying to tell people is, you don't go into it like, you know, I'm going to get down. Like I'm going to get down there. I'm going to fuck Eryk up today. I do that to Ben. I do that to Ben now. Like Ben will be like, you crazy. But Ben and I have that little bit of that relationship where I'll be like, I looked at Ben in the open mat last week. I'm going to go, come here. I'm going to fuck you up. And he's like, you crazy. Like he's stupid. You know.
But, man, when you're out there like, you know, choking and, you know, trying to obviously not trying to break somebody's arm, but put somebody in a position in real life.
Yeah, not an open mat, but
you know, you're fucked right now. You know, it's a very humbling experience. So, you know, people know that. So, like, you know, like in a football locker room, there's like 2 or 3 alphas, and no one ever challenges them just because whatever, they're bigger, stronger, whatever. Great football player, man. In MMA and jiu-jitsu, man, everybody's been choked. Everybody's been socked in the face.
Everybody's been a white belt.
Yeah. So everybody's been like fucked up, and you can't get away from it. You can't hide from it.
The best advice I want to, because I'm going to ask you what the best advice you got being with Saban and through the years being with great coaches at SBG and different gyms. The best advice I got is when I walked in to locker room, college locker room, and I used to give the kids this advice when I coached for years in football. I said, you know, look around. I said, this coach said this to me. He goes, everybody here at the college level, everybody was an all-star and everybody was a big swinging dick. Now go to your locker and act accordingly. So you just kind of know.
Sure.
Everybody's somebody. Just ask them. You know what I mean? They'll tell you how great they are.
Man, you know, I used to tell my coach, my position coach, obviously you don't win every play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You might get blocked, you might, or whatever. You might miss a tackle. And, man, I'd tell my coach, hey, man, them boys on scholarship too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they practice and train,
And when you practice and train, you ain't, how do you explain this to people? You're not going 1,000%.
Sure.
Like maybe you're going 80%. You're not, like if we lock up, you and I, on Sunday, you go, but you're not trying to end that you're not trying to not send that person to work tomorrow. Like if you wanted to, you could put me down and I ain't going to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you ain't doing that because you're training.
Right.
And you're trying to give them something. You show them, here's what I could do to you. I've already had Vinny pretzel me up. I don't need you to break me in half. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. You've been accepted into the gym and you're wearing the colors. I know who can hurt me, and that's where the respect comes in.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's the respect for you as a professional, and it's the respect for the young guy kind of, and I say young guy, but I'm older, but like you just kind of learning the game. Experience-wise. Just like I want to just get the experience. You're going to show me something. Hey, I could do this to you if I want to, motherfucker. You know?
See, man, at least you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the younger, inexperienced people, especially guys, may have been a high school, all-state,
something.
quarterback.
Everybody's someone.
And then they come into the gym, they expect to just excel at jiu-jitsu, just, specifically talking about jiu-jitsu. And, man, it doesn't always work like that. It does not always work.
I looked right at Matt Brown, and Matt will tell you this. Matt and I started off a little rocky, and the Immortal one, and I said, yo, man, if I was ever rolling with you, I just have to shoot you.
Yeah.
And he was like, I hate motherfuckers like you. I was like, you all right.
Yeah. Shit, he's been back from the dead 2 or 3 times, so I don't even know if a bullet's going to work for him.
Yeah,
so.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
He's fucking awesome. Yeah, so what did, you got some great advice through the years from Saban, I'm sure, and you got, some great advice from coaches because you've been to the top of the game having guys corner you. What's some of the takeaways, advice you've gotten that you would give to like a young cat coming in?
Man, it's a process, especially with the younger people, guys in particular, inflated ego, testosterone, all that good stuff, man. It's a process, man. You're not going to walk in the gym today and be fighting for a world championship tomorrow. Man, Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, man, those guys have been training. Daniel Cormier since birth, So, what you see at the top, man, there's so much more that went in to just that one fight to win the belt. So, man, you got to show up to practice every day. You got to do everything, eat right, sleep right, strength and conditioning.
Yeah, I'd be the first to tell anybody, and I've said this to dudes that come up to me, it don't matter the amount of gear you do. It don't matter the amount of shit you put in your body. It don't matter, how much weight you lift. I'm living proof of that. I'll tell you right now. You go in there, there's technique, there's things you need to learn. It's like anything else on the football field. You can have raw fundamentals. You can run a 4.6 40. You can jump like a deer. Do deers jump?
Yeah, pretty well.
Pretty well.
That was a good analogy.
You can jump like a deer, but it don't matter. When you go in there, there's a new set of techniques. There's a new set of rules. Tom Brady's living proof of that. I hate to do the Brady plug, but Q, I'm going to do it.
You got the shirt on.
Yeah,
man.
haters. So that's
it.
Started. Don't get me started. But it doesn't matter. You have to learn new techniques, new ways of doing things, and you have to re-humble yourself and reprogram your brain. And it's in that reprogramming that you'll find, as corny as this sounds, the salvation. You'll find that kind of next level. You'll get the glow.
And also with MMA, man, it's forever evolving. Mm-hmm. You'll see somebody hit something
stylistically,
in a fight.
Of course.
Yeah,
too.
You'll see somebody hit some gangster shit in the fight, and the next thing you know, it happens more and more because people see it. It's like, oh, I like that. Now, so they study that, and then they, tailor it for their game.
Every homie talks about wrestling. They talk about grappling. They talk about jiu-jitsu. What did you take from football to MMA that works?
Man, I would say aggression. Everything in football is kind of, straightforward. And that's kind of how I move in a fight, man. I move moving forward always. And not necessarily looking to take one to give one, but I'm definitely,
I would say aggression, and I would say posture. Like you just know how to posture yourself like an athlete.
Sure.
And that's why I try to tell people, they're like, oh, football must help. I'm like, not at all. But
you know, when I was at the PI just now, they had the UNLV basketball team in there. And I was like, oh, man, y'all learning to punch and kick shit? Yeah. I was like, man, some of y'all might need to look into this MMA thing when you're done with basketball, because not all y'all going to the NBA. Let's just be honest. And
you ever see a hoops dude fight? It's like two cats going at it.
But, man, they're so tall and lean. So, man, this dude was like 6'3", and he would be like a 55er.
Kareem was a black belt.
Yeah.
Kareem was a black belt.
Oh, yeah, man. He in there in the Bruce Lee movies and whatnot. Yeah.
Kareem was. But, no, you're right.
Just imagine if that guy fought. How much do you think he weighed? Let's just say he's a heavyweight. Man, he's 7 feet tall.
Q, how much did Kareem weigh?
He'd probably be a 205 though.
Like a 205.
You know what I mean? At that height with that
the reach would be crazy.
The footwork, all that. So I was like, man, like Walt Harris, man, the fastest. He has to be the fastest heavyweight in the division.
John Jones is tall because his brother Chandler is tall. He's a DN.
At his heaviest, he was 7'2", 265.
Okay, so he'd be a heavyweight.
Yeah, but he was 7'2".
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's skinny, you know. That's 265.
Well, man, just imagine that dude in front of you on his jab.
How heavy were you at your heaviest?
250.
You were 250. So you went down as low as what, 185?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, that's just like my weigh-in day weight. That's not like what I walk around at.
What do you walk around at?
Like 225.
Yeah, you're like me. I'm about 230 guy. I'd like to say 230. Might be 240.
On a good day.
A good day. That's crazy. Is that crazy to you?
Well, man, you know, when I first started, I had those big, bulky football muscles that are, like, useless in MMA, like jiu-jitsu, boxing. And when I first started, like, my chest was so big, I couldn't, like, bring my elbows together. So, you know, I was just eating shots down the middle. Bow, bow, bow. And then, you know, just through the training and, you know, I just kind of, you know, you just kind of burn off what you don't need.
You learn efficiency.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. You learn efficiency. You start to look at it differently. You look at it as more like an energy bar. And you want to maximize that energy bar. Like one of the things I'm really good is, I will give myself this, I'm good at being like a dead player. Like I'm that dude. Like I know how to just kind of like I'll go with it. Like it'll be like pretzeling me and I'm like okay. And then I can fight back a little bit and then I'm like okay. Because you learn that. That's just kind of like your breathing. You learn that.
Sure.
And you learn that from shooting. You learn that from training and shooting because you have to be very even keeled because if you get too excited, they say float the dot and take the shot. So when you hold out a gun, you float the dot. You know, you get tired. That's
sure.
So that's the basic fundamentals of breathing. You learn that kinesthetic alignment. So framing comes natural to me because you learn in shooting you want to have that good kinesthetic alignment. So certain things start to come, and it's the same in football. Like you learn good posture. That's why I said posture. Yeah. You understand posture, and that's important in fighting. Like, okay, give me a good athletic posture, and what is it? It's down in the bucket. You know, like an athlete. You know, like you're taking a shit. You know, but you're floating on the bowl.
Knees bent.
You gotta be an athlete. You know, Q does that every morning. Practices that over the bowl.
You gotta get it in, man.
You gotta get it in.
So way to start the day.
Tell me, you go to SBG, you start training, you start getting good coaching around you, you start to turn the corner. Where is your mind when you're like, okay, the UFC thing starts to come along? Where is your mind in like, at what point are you like, we made it? Like.
Man, you know, I don't think that we made it yet. You know, until
we done come up, Q.
Yeah, but you know, I am definitely in a different tax bracket. And to be honest with you, man, I really, cause I was working a job and fighting. I think I had like 2 or 3 pro fights, and my wife, you know, I think I was like 27, 28. You know, she's like, why you just don't? I get up at 5 in the morning, train, go to work, train, not come home till 10, 11 at night. And then she was like, man, why don't you quit your job? And I was like, shh, man, you know, I got this kid, I got a car payment, I got this, that, and boom, boom, boom. And she was like, man, you're not getting any younger. Just give it 2 years. And if you don't make it in 2 years, man, you have the rest of your life to work. And I was also in school to be an EMT, so, man, I had a lot on my plate. And then she was like, man, I work, you know, you can work at the gym, you know, so we'll make it. And so she kind of put her foot in my back and kind of.
Is she an attorney? She's an attorney, isn't she?
Yeah.
She listed. I saw that on her bio. She's an attorney. I looked you guys up. Yeah, she's an attorney. That helps.
Yeah. So man, she's really smart.
She's the brains of the house.
She's definitely the brain. She just tells me what to do, when to do it, and I do, and everything works out well.
Happy wife, happy Life.
Yeah. So she was an attorney in Brazil. Then she came here, and she opened up her own school, started her own business to teach secondary language acquisition. She's fluent in 5 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, French, English, and Croatian. And we have a high Hispanic population in Birmingham, so she really works with the Hispanic guys, teaching them English and
it's a lot of work.
Yeah. And she developed her own method, wrote her own book to teach, and so
she's like a walking Rosetta Stone.
Man, she's killing it. She's killing it.
That's crazy.
And so she was like, man, just do it.
You guys have you have an awesome. I was looking at your page a little bit. If you can't pull his page up, you guys have an awesome family. You guys have great structure, and that has to help a ton at home. Like you said a couple things so far, like happy wife, happy life. You guys have great structure, and that has to help you going into matches and everything else.
Well, yeah, she gets it. She
there he is. Yeah.
She'll when I'm getting ready for a fight, man, she'll let me be moody. She'll let me be, be me, or and kind of sit in the shadow, if you will. And man, she's like the nutritionist, CFO, CEO, dietitian. Man, she really, she does everything. I just literally eat, train, and sleep. And
she trains her ass off too, right?
Yeah. So not only does she run a business, but she competes in
at a high level too. Yeah,
fitness competitions. She's getting ready to compete in Latvia in November. So
it's crazy.
We're both kind of getting ready and prepping at the same time.
Just when you think like you hustling, you meet folks like yourselves.
Like her.
Yeah,
all I'm doing is training. I'm a one-trick pony.
I'm serious. Man. I give you guys crazy respect because I know what it takes on the fitness side. I've been on the gun side, in the defense world, and I've done enough jiu-jitsu through the years to know it's so much work, man. I look at you guys and I said, like, there's, you totally take excuses and you make a motivation.
Well, man, at the end of the day, no one really cares,
It's a great.
No one cares. No one cares that my back hurts, or no one cares that I'm tired. No one cares that I trained hard yesterday. One thing, one quote that my wife hit me with, and she was like, "The bill is due every day. You gotta do something every day. You gotta train every day. Like you gotta pay the bill every day." And I was like, "Man, you know what?
What do I say every day, Q? My neck, my back, every day." I'm like, it's like it's just It doesn't matter. I mean, you could complain a little. Everyone will eat a little complaint.
Sure.
Oh, I need a nap. Okay, whatever. I want to eat that extra meal. Sure, okay. You can have that little bit of grace. Everybody's granted that. But at the end of the day, you got to pay the piper, and you got to put the time in. You got to put the effort in. You got to put, you see me, man. I'll fight. I'll have 5 podcasts a day. I don't care. I'll do. I'll keep going and going and going. Put the camera on. I say, put the camera on. Put the camera on. It doesn't matter.
And that's how it's got to be. Because if I go out there and I lose a fight, nobody's gonna hear that. Oh,
boo hoo.
I was tired, or whatever.
You leave it all out there, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that this motherfucker doesn't leave it all out there. I mean, you leave it.
I try to.
You put it out there, and when you're done writing the book, man, you're gonna be able to look back and say, "Yeah, I put it all out, 110% every time."
The one thing that I always tell myself that, sometimes people ask me, "What's the one thing that you want your kids to say about you or whatever?" And it's, man, I didn't leave. I have no regrets. I did everything that I could possibly do to make it as far as I possibly could, and where I'm at is because that's as far as I was gonna get, based off my effort and expectation and things. So, I sleep easy at night knowing that, man, I've not left any stones unturned. I've done everything I could, trained as hard as I could, or whatever. So I'm good.
You're in town now, and you're hanging out a little bit, spending some time. You'll be at the PI, I'm sure. What divisions get you excited? What are you excited about? Because I had Julian in, and Julian kind of, Julian, he gave me the rundown.
Yeah.
Tell me, what divisions and what guys you looking at that you're like, they holding it down?
Man, that 170 division is looking really good right now. You just have so many players. And for me, it's like it's not even always about the belt. It's like the matchup and the hype behind the fight, like the Masvidal and Nate Diaz fight. Man, you know.
Who doesn't love Georgie right now? It's
Yeah.
hard not. I mean, Jorge Masvidal.
2 OGs.
It's just hard not to love him right now. He's having that second half of his career.
Yeah, exactly.
And to all the homies that think like, oh, you know, I got them 3 losses in a row, and now, oh, you know, like that's usually the number. Like guys start to like question shit. He's just had such a run, and then he's got a second run now that it's like, all right, doesn't come up. It's a, you know, so looking at him and then looking at that whole division, you know, you still have Ben floating out there.
Yeah.
You know, you have Colby, you know, just the gimmick is strong, the force is strong. It's just everything.
Well, man, I think, you know, just like reading stuff online, like, you know, he's running out of lifelines. He ain't got no friends left. You know, you got guys in
how much
gym.
of that's real and how much of that's, you know,
man,
a gadget. I don't
know.
You know.
I mean, you know, yeah, exactly like you said. You know, I just skim through Twitter and I see Dustin Poirier saying that he gonna fight him on site whenever he sees him. I see Masvidal talking about he don't like him no more because he said something about his coach or somebody he loved or something like that. So, you know, real or not,
Hype machine or not, yeah.
I'm gonna pretend it's real. And I'm going to pretend that they don't like each other.
You know, Colby does a great job generating heat. And I think he just knows how he's got that dialed in right now, that heat generation chamber.
It's only good if you win. At the next time he loses, shit really going to hit the fan for him.
I like that. You like that, Q? I like that.
As long as you're winning, man,
Hey,
you can say and do whatever it is that you want, you know, as long as you're winning.
Did you ask him that question from Dom? Did you see that? Did you?
No,
ask him
I haven't.
already?
My computer was updating. I haven't seen it. What was
Dom's
it?
got a good question. He is one of the viewers, Dom the hypnotist.
Yeah, I gotta put. You know, he knows Dom.
Yeah,
That's what I thought. I figured he did, but I didn't want to. Yeah. So Dom asked, what feels better, winning a fight or winning that championship, the national championship?
Man, they're so different, you know, because winning a football game is a true team effort. And that's something I could never ever get into as a football player. You know, maybe I'm selfish or whatever, but yeah, we all did that. Cool, hoorah, you know, whatever. But man, you know, going out there and just flooring somebody at the highest level, man, you know, it's like not very many. I can't even articulate the feeling that I have, you know, going out there and starching somebody, or even going out there and getting in a fight like that Thiago fight. Even if I didn't win, man, I had a lot of fun in that fight, and I can't say that I've ever had fun in a loss in a football game.
Bro, you left it all out there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing. If you can go home and you could say, I threw the kitchen sink at this dude,
Yeah.
and I'm still here to talk about it, and you know, and you're proud, legit proud. And then for him to go on and do what he did, you walk around, you like, you got a 12-inch dick, in my opinion. Like, that's it, because that's all you can do.
Yeah,
that's all you can do, and it should. And you're early on. You know, you weren't like, you're by no means long in the career, right? You got an established career at this point, so you're like building the bones. People will look back on that and say, you know, okay, all right, you know, that's the come up. You're there. So for me, you know, I hit my pinnacle winning a CYO basketball tournament at 12 years old. I hit the top. I hit the top of the table at that point.
Now, Eryk. Now, on another note, I'm a Bama fan, so nobody gonna know what we talking about, but me and you personally. Now, I know you were a kid, but how good did it feel to seal that fucking championship with that fumble, man, that sack fumble?
Oh, man.
Bro, I remember having a heart attack when you did that shit.
Man, it was great. And it's funny because, you know, I'm from Texas. I'm from like 90 miles outside of Austin.
Right.
So for me, it was bitter, you know, fucking just so much sweeter because, man, Texas ain't give your boy a look coming out of high school.
Oh, man.
So I went all the way to Alabama.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Oh, yeah.
Good question, Q.
Man,
that's sweet.
That was like the last game of my college career, national championship.
You sealed it.
Undefeated.
You sealed it, dude. That fumble sealed the game, bro.
Too.
Yeah.
And, you know, just, you know, whoop that ass, you know. So, man, for me, it was great.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
Who was the quarterback at Texas at the time? Was it?
What's Colt McCoy?
Gilbert was,
but he got hurt.
He got hurt. Yeah,
I was gonna say Colt McCoy, but he got.
And then Garrett Gilbert. Garrett Gilbert was the guy who played most of the game. And, you know, it's funny, I'll go home and people be like, oh, you know, still, and this is 10 years later, man, you know, people will still be like, oh, you know, if Colt McCoy was still in the game.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
And I'm just like, listen, man.
That's not how it works. Yeah,
Well, our whole game plan was for Colt McCoy to keep him in the pocket because he was such a dual threat quarterback. Man, if you want to beat us, you got to beat us with your arm. So we didn't even rush or do anything, and then he gets hurt. Garrett Gilbert comes in, and he was happier than a pig in shit to just sit in the pocket. And him and Shipley got on a you know, got together, synced up, and you know, we're kind of tearing our secondary up. And then when we start turning up the heat, man, they just doing the cards, man. Cause
what you think about the squad this year, man? You think they're gonna get a little get back on Clemson, or think they're gonna make it?
Man, you know, Clemson hasn't looked impressive as they have in the past few years. You know,
right?
Season
I was saying that too.
You know, so Clemson looks beatable. But at the same time, Bama's played Duke and New Mexico State, so that's not much of a gauge.
I'm interested to see what they do with South Carolina.
Is that who they? Okay, like, I was trying to figure out who they had this week.
They're at South Carolina, so I expect them to win. Yeah, but I want to see what kind of win. You know, that will tell me something.
Man, and you know, I want to see Bama establish the run a little bit more. Man, you know they. I
think the line is giving them some trouble. The offensive line,
but man, they have a slew of running backs. They're all big. They're all strong. Man, just. Till the offensive lineman get in the way of the other guy of the defense, and just let those guys, you know, figure it out after they get the ball, you know. So we'll see what Bama does.
You're a college. You go for college football more than pro.
Man, you know, I don't have a pro team. I just kind of watch the guys that came from Bama just because, you know.
Yeah.
Give me a reason to watch.
Q and I have this debate, and it's similar for me. Growing up in New England, in Boston. You don't really have a college team. I mean, you have BC, but you know BC's kind of like, you know, it's like a thing, but they've never been higher than what, top 5. I think 5 was the highest rank.
Yeah, who's the quarterback?
It was Matty Ice.
Was it Matty Ice? Yeah, Matt Ryan. That's right.
When Matt Ryan was there, when Flutie was there, I think they finished 6th or 7th when they beat Miami in that Hail Mary game. I think it was a Cotton Bowl or something. They finished that high. When Matty was there, and it was. They had Coach Jags. They finished top 5, but that was the highest they've ever been. So for me, it's like, how are you going to compete in a college, being in a town we're a pro town? You know,
100%.
You have the Pats, you have the Celtics, you have, you know, all pro teams. You have the Red Sox. Forget it with the Red Sox. I mean, forget it. So it's a pro town team. So I always, you know, rooted for New England through the years, but everybody around me grew up Giants fan because the Giants were always nationally televised. People don't realize that about New England. That's why when everyone's like, oh, you must hate the Giants. I'm like, you hate the Jets. You don't hate the Giants, because when we were kids, the Patriots weren't televised. Yeah. It was always Giants, Giants, Giants. You got a dose of them. So, like, a lot of my family members, the older ones, they were Giants fans. Not to say in 2007 and 2011, I think it was you didn't hate the Giants. You hated them for losing that game, especially the way it happened. You were miserable. I know. Fuck me. I know. But but it's, you know, I know what you're saying, because you really didn't have a pro team, you know.
And but you know, the cool thing about playing at Alabama is there's none of that. There's Alabama. It's a complete
You're the
opposite.
star.
It's Alabama and Auburn. The closest professional sports team is the Atlanta teams.
There's not even a closer college level team.
Auburn, but you know they're.
I'm saying, but other than football, like, there's not hockey.
Nah.
There's not. I guess Auburn baseball is decent, right?
Did they
Bo Jackson played there.
Yeah.
They were good.
I think I don't know. They went to their basketball team good. Auburn's basketball team good.
Yeah, hoops are good.
They may went to the Elite Eight.
You're the star.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, you know what I mean? The whole state, you know, other than Auburn, like I'm saying, football's the star. Football is the star.
Football reigns supreme for sure.
Supreme. Yeah, it's a unique state.
You do have other schools like UAB, Alabama State, things like that, but
Forrest Gump went there.
Yeah, he did. Ran back kicks and everything. He played for the Bear.
Yeah, that's kind of fucking awesome. That's kind of cool when you think about it, right? He won a national championship there, didn't he?
He kept running.
I don't know. They won a national championship.
He just kept on running, though.
He just kept running, man.
He just kept running. Is there like a picture of him? Is there anything there?
Nah.
No, it's not, they don't spoof it.
Nah.
They don't spoof it. They should.
But man, Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
You know,
it's crazy.
a legend. I think they should do the Forrest Gump thing too, man.
I think they should too. They should put like, that would be like them taking themselves seriously but not taking themselves. Like it'd be a funny spoof.
Because who hasn't seen Forrest Gump?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like they should have like an honorary locker.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be hilarious.
You know
That'd be.
like,
what
that
number
would
was
be,
it?
I feel like I feel like Saban
that'd
would
be
do
cool, right?
I think he was
I
in
don't
the
know, man. He's kind of a no-nonsense guy.
I know, but like I feel like that would be a little like nod. Like he'd be a little.
And like the guys that are there now, man. You gotta remember, man. Those guys are, born in like 1996, 1997.
You and I were talking about that the other day in the context of Brady. That's what's crazy. So it's funny you bring up the age thing. There are guys, and I do want to ask this, being a New England guy. There are guys right now on New England that were like 4 years old when Brady won his first championship.
Really?
How crazy is that? Because he won in 2001. Think about that.
Yeah,
So that was now 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So if you're 22, 23, 24 years old, you were a freaking baby.
Yeah.
There could eventually be kids.
But he's been doing that the whole time they've been alive, so everybody's familiar with Tom Brady. It's not like he was that guy who balled out, and then now he's at like the end of his career. They just won a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
So he's been at the top this whole 18 years.
So the question I have is, does he – because take the New England thing away from me for a second, which is hard, but take it away. Does he inspire you that he's doing what he's doing at 42 years old and showing people you can do things for a long period of time? And I put like even Benny and Jorge in that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're doing things late into their career. Cowboy,
But you're talking about Masvidal, who's 34, and you're talking about him.
But the 34 is, you know what I'm saying? The way they protect the quarterback now.
Yeah.
I'm saying the
They can play
34.
forever.
That's what I'm saying. So,
especially Tom Brady, because they make up so many rules.
oh yeah,
Like Charles
I don't argue
Rosa,
that.
My dog Charles Rosa, he thinks I hate Tom Brady, but it's not that I hate Tom Brady. It's that I hate the way the NFL treats Tom Brady and the things they let him get away with. Man, Tom Brady be cussing the referee out in his face, pointing at him, motherfucking him. It's okay, just go back to the
But
huddle.
you've been on the field between the lines. In my opinion, he carries himself like a pro off the field. He's earned that on the field to a point.
Same set of rules
Eryk,
for everybody, man.
But
Listen,
it's
man,
the
tough
quarterback
rule.
position. I agree that they baby the quarterback position.
No, they baby. Yeah, the quarterback, but especially Tom Brady, golden child. Man, listen.
I see it as Peyton. Peyton set the tone for that.
Hell nah.
Peyton
Hell
got away.
nah.
Peyton got away with murder. I mean, and then that motherfucker was like Papa John's. Like Peyton got away with murder.
He did what he's supposed to do. He transitioned.
Yeah.
Tom Brady don't have to do that because he has like 2% of Kraft's business. He took a pay cut, but they gave him 2% of the company.
He made a deal
So he really didn't
with the
take a
devil. He said, "I'm gonna play till I'm 50," and that's the way it's gonna be.
Go.
He's just, but the way he trains, is that all? Like, do you look at that at all? Because I do. I'm like, motherfucker, like he trains and eats and carries himself totally differently.
Yeah, man. I think
people are buying in now. People are looking at it, but
yeah, I think that to perform at a high level for a long period of time. Because man, when you're 20, 21, 22, man, it didn't matter what I ate, drank.
And you just want to rip weights.
Everything.
Yeah,
I was just
treat your body like a
for
sword.
2 hours.
Yeah.
And then, but now I'm a little bit older. I'm 32. Man, I can tell when I've been eating pizza and when I've been eating salads. I can tell.
Wait till you're 35.
Yeah.
I'm 38. So
Yeah.
wait, you have to take care of your body and you have to be able to perform for a long period of time. You're entering the prime now. Like for a man, 32 to 35. I thought people were crazy. I thought 35 was old. I was at my strongest, most physical, because your bones start to harden. Different things happen to you that you reach a point. 32 to 35 is a sweet spot. It really is.
And now they're doing all this research with what to eat when and how to recover. I think recovery, especially for MMA, has been the part, especially when I first started, man, there was no recovery. It was train, work, train again.
There's no emphasis.
And then, if you get some sleep, cool.
Listen, I'm a little older than you, so I remember, I was in high school. There was no water breaks. I was pre-Corey Stringer.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I playing in New England, just as New England was getting like good, like it became like even at a high school level, like there was like a thing. Not like Texas, but it was a blood and guts tough. I played both ways. I remember triple sessions. Triple sessions don't exist anymore.
Yeah, they can't even have 2-a-days anymore.
Yeah, triple sessions don't exist. I played in Q. Remember, Q did it.
Oh God, I couldn't. When they went away from 2-a-days, I was.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man, you gotta let them be tough a little bit.
We had triples. We had no water. I remember this. And then Corey Stringer died. God rest his soul. You know, and it all changed. Then there's like I remember coming back to coach because it all happened when I was in college. First of all, college was like going to I feel like I was in like, whoa, like this is like Hollywood. Like they carry you to the field. Now you have to take care and coddle. Does that bother you at all? You see that? Like, because you kind of lived through it a little bit.
I mean, I think every generation is a little bit softer than the previous generation. Like your dad, you know, I see that picture of the guys who built the Empire State Building, sitting on a cross beam eating lunch with not tied off to anything. You know, and obviously, like, office, obviously things have to change because they don't know what they didn't know. Like with football, the big thing was concussions. Man, no one knew that. You know, it was just quit being a pussy. Get up, get back in the game. Like I've been knocked unconscious.
Oh, sure.
Never in a fight, but playing football. And man, no one said anything.
Yeah, I lived through water break.
I
lived through water breaks and triple sessions. You went through the concussion thing, and the concussion protocol came in, and we're seeing it evolve.
Fully expecting to forget where I live in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, man.
I absolutely believe concussions.
From playing college ball.
Yeah, I don't regret none of it though, man. You know?
Fuck no, I paid for school for me, so I ain't
tripping.
I absolutely believe like, you know, that the concussion thing is real, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's science and studies that back it up, and I don't have them all in front of me. But Jason Harrison, who owned Sika and Kuyu clothing, he killed himself. He took his life because of concussions, and they tried, you know, they went through, you know, that he went through that. He played for the Broncos for a minute, and then he started a hunting company, and the industry lost a great person because of that. You know, the NFL lost an awesome human being in Junior Seau because of that.
Yeah.
And Junior was like so alive, and it's a real thing. Does that scare you at all with fighting? And do you you're nowhere near that point, but do you think you'll know when to step away, or will you be 50 and you'll be like, I'm getting back in the ring?
I mean, just like most athletes, we all know how this game ends.
Yeah.
Man. We all know this ends with, you know, several losses in a row, and then you just kind of, I just can't do this shit no more, kind of thing. So, you know, I've accepted that. You know, it is what it is. So, man, whatever, man. I'm happy when I'm training. I'm happy when I'm fighting. So I'm gonna ride this till I'm either not happy anymore or the wheels fall off. And I think I know which one's gonna come first. You know, them wheels are gonna go rolling all the way down the street.
You'd be like Forrest working at the PI, and then you'll be like, I'm coming back for one more.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna be no one more, man. I think once you tell yourself it's over with, man, just let it go and be over.
The best advice ever written and published is you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Yeah, but man, how many athletes do you know that all right, this is it? I can only name 2 or 3 athletes off the top of my head right now. They're retired in their prime, and it's not because they didn't love the game.
I think some walked away too. I think some walked away too soon. I think Jim Brown walked away too soon.
Jim Brown.
But you know what? I think
Barry Sanders.
I think that shit is trending, Eryk. Like you look with
Andrew Luck.
With Luck, and then even before him, remember Patrick Willis.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe he stepped away when he stepped away. You know.
Yeah, but man, you're talking about guys who have serious injuries, man. Patrick Willis was getting beat up since he was in college, man. I remember when I was in at Bama, man, this dude came on the field with a giant Q-tip on his hand. Like this whole hand was wrapped in because he had broken his arm, and he was still out there.
I disagree. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I disagreed, and it's hard because I'm not in his shoes and I'm not in his family's camp. But I disagree with the Andrew Luck thing. I think he should have either taken a little time. You know, he should have got the team through the year, give them time. He didn't give them time. And with the amount of money they had invested in him, it's hard. You know, I get it. You could say, John, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. You know,
well, man, you know, Andrew Luck, he's been injured his whole career. So, man, I'm sure he's at his wit's end, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a pain in the ass to always walking around.
But I guarantee
with a major injury.
He could have taken. He could have said, you know, I need a 4 week. I need some time. Put me on IR, and I'll come back, and we'll see what we can do. But I'm done. and they would have been like, "We'll take you any way we can get you," because he's that talented.
Sure.
So I feel like he did them a little bit of a disservice. It's easy for me to say. You can say,
I'm sure that he had like some kind of conversation,
discussed every scenario.
Like, I don't think he just like call out, man, fuck it, especially in the middle of a game.
Right.
I don't think he just said, man, I'm done with this shit. I think that.
Yeah, we don't know what way, and it's his privacy. It'll never be written. But, like, I don't think we'll know. But I think some guys did retire. I mean, Barry Sanders, I would have loved to see a couple more years. But playing in Detroit, I get it.
That's what I'm saying, man.
He was so close to breaking the record.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
the record.
Like, he was so talented. Like, being a kid watching him run, you were just like, you were in the schoolyard, you had the hutch football, you were like, I'll do a little move like that. Like, I'm Barry for a minute. No, you ain't. Like, you know what I mean? At all. Then you got clothesline.
But think about how close he was to setting the record, and then he just said, man, you know what?
Fuck it. I don't need it.
I'm out.
I wouldn't be surprised if Luck comes back like in a year or two.
The problem there with Barry, we all get it, is Detroit. He went through a revolving door of coaches that was
even Calvin Johnson.
Like Calvin,
yeah. Detroit just runs it out of people. Jim Brown, I mean, Cleveland was loaded, and I get, what I understand about Jim Brown is back then they weren't making the money they're making now, so it was kind of like he had an opportunity with his career with movies, with stuff like that, like Marvin Hagler had. Don't forget Marvin Hagler. I mean, he walked away.
Sure.
He was never the same after he fought, Sugar Ray. He just kind of like he poured it all out, but he had a chance to go overseas and do movies and things like that and become a star. And he looked at the longevity, and it's I can't sing or dance, so I do the podcast. It's like what I mean.
But I bet you with Marvin Hagler, he came so close and probably just sold out. Just he get kind of like a Dustin Poirier kind of thing, man. Like, this is supposed to be it, but it was a lot closer. Obviously, his fight with Sugar Ray, he probably took. So he probably left, like, literally left a piece.
He
of
felt
him
cheated, He felt like
in the thing
because he was a warrior. I mean, you go back and you look at Marvin Hagler, and I talked about this. Being from New England, Hagler was a Boston guy, Dorchester. He would just that area, like Chris Cavallini, who was just here. He's from that area. He was arrested 17 times and went and started Nutrition Solutions. He was like, I was a thug. Like, he'll sit here and tell you, he'll be like, I should be dead or in jail. I went into the Navy, found Jesus, saved his life. And it's one of those things, man. You come from that area, all you know is the fight. And you grew up a similar way, and some areas just bring that out of people. It's just all you know is the war, and when you get older, and I could see it in you, like you do it more now with a little bit of a smile, like like I said, like working with the younger guys on the mat, and just you do it, like I'm humble because my girlfriend used to choke me out and beat me.
I was gonna ask you about that, man. Did it ever make you nervous if you all got in an argument? I was like, man, she could,
So the first time I rolled with Leah, the first time I rolled with Leah, so she was a heavyweight IBJJF 2-time gold medalist. Now, first time I rolled with Leah, I almost had her in a collar choke. So I thought I knew some shit. And she armbarred me like 17 times. She would pretzel me up. She would hurt me real bad. And, I think you get humbled real fast, man, because you're going home and you're having dinner together and you're like, this bitch beat me up like 4 times today. And, I love her to death. Yeah. She's a great person, a great family, great person.
She is a great person.
She's a great person. There's not a doubt in my mind. Anything she does, she's going to be successful. The hard thing is, it's like when you're trying to build a home and a life with someone and they do jiu-jitsu, it's very, you have to set that all aside, man, when you step on the mats, and you have to learn, you have to understand, you have to respect the trade craft.
Right.
You really do. And you go through that in football too, because you're like, why is this guy, crushing me? I'm 250, he's 250, we collide.
But this isn't like my wife or girlfriend or significant other. That's another grown man. I get it. He gonna win. So he go.
I go through it with Tony on the range. Because real world tactics with Tony. Tony and I run drills together. We'll do side by sides. There's stuff, and there's stuff because of my athletic background, being in football. He'll tell you, in a straight line, I'll win in a race. I'll win by a step. But I also ran a 4.6, 4.7 40 in college. Like, that just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
You still have a step. You know what I mean? Am I still that? No. But am I still quick off the blocks? Yeah. Like, you just have that with you.
Sure.
And
burst.
Yeah, we took a video I'll always challenge guys on the range. I'll be like, you want to race to the target and back? I'll do it right now. But I'm the fastest white boy you ever lay eyes on. I'll tell you right now. But it's just with her, she always had I don't have to tell you, she did seminars in your gym.
Yeah. She
always had a very deft touch coaching. She always had that ability to be like, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. So to say there was a couple nights where I'm like, this motherfucker, like, what, but I'm
gonna let it ride though.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it ride. But you have to,
choose your battles.
I guess it's a mentality, like you said, happy wife, happy life. But you learn too that the struggle teaches you how to win in the end. And it's like you get a humbleness that comes over you, or like it's almost like a chill. Like it's just like, I'm gonna let it ride, but I learned today, and I'm gonna learn a little more tomorrow, and I'm gonna learn more next week, and then, they say every 20 pounds. I used to say every 20 pounds is a belt. That's what they say, right? Like every 20, 30 pounds is a belt.
Yeah.
With the exception of black belt, you got to take black out of it, but because there's just some guys that are killers, and no matter how many pounds you have them going around, you ain't winning.
Well, man, the thing is with jiu-jitsu, man, some of these kids, they're 16, 17 years old, and they've been training since they were 6, so they got 10 years in the thing. The reason why they can't be a black belt or whatever is because of their age or whatever.
Yeah.
And one time I went out to California to do Worlds, and
sometimes they'll start them at blue. Like if they have that, if they're at that high level, like when they hit the age, they'll start them at a blue. I've seen that. They'll be white for like a minute.
For sure. Like my kids will probably never wear another white belt. They're 10 and 8, and they've been training, or at least been in the gym since, they were like 2. And even though they're not participating, they're watching. And so they imitate, and that's how they learn at that age. So they're not getting physical reps. They're getting, like, mental reps.
What's more prestigious to you? Is it the black belt in jiu-jitsu, or is it the national championship?
Man.
I don't want to put the UFC title in there.
I think that, I feel like I would have worked harder for my black belt. But, man, if you train long enough, you're going to get a black belt. It doesn't matter who you're getting it from. If you put the time in, you're going to get it. You can put all the time in the world in football. That doesn't mean that your team's going to win a national championship.
That's a good point.
So, I only had, 4 years to win a national championship.
Tight window.
Through coaching change and, all that other good stuff. Man, I got the rest of my life to get a black belt. Eventually, I'm going to put one on. Like, I still train. I do the gi, no gi, all that. So
it's not always guaranteed.
Yeah, give me the belt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. If you stay in the same family, if you stay like with SBG or ATT or you're at 10 Planet, I would say that you're not. If you stay, you'll get it. But if you change, it gets harder. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You got to break in a new area, but time.
And I'm sure each coach, instructor, what have you, has a different, criteria for their belt and whatever. Like, I'm sure getting one from Marcelo Garcia isn't the same as getting one from Vinny.
Jiu-jitsu is probably the most prestigious. Like, when I came here, I asked around, and I had told Lee, I said, I'm going to go to 10th Planet. And she's like, I don't know if you'll like that culture coming from SBG. I don't regret it for a second, because to me, where I am, I mean, Montana will never be accused of being a hotbed for jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
I would say it's, like we talked about this with a bunch of people, I would say Montana, that Renzo Gracie in New York, Miami, obviously, Cali. And we talked about it. Georgia's up and coming. Georgia's right there. The 10th Planet's there. You know, what Sean's doing, some of the guys there, the SBGs, the two of them. There's some hitters there now.
Sure.
They're like, stand up and be recognized, you know. Especially what you're doing in that gym, you know, because they were kind of searching a little bit for an identity post, you know, Connor and, you know, but Georgia's crushing it as a region right now. Would I put them in that top 4 or 5 yet? I don't know. They're there though. I mean, you know, but coming to 10th Planet in Vegas was one of the draws. Like, I was like, there's just fucking straight killers in there. It's just.
And the cool thing about that gym is, man, a lot of people come to Vegas for training, so. Casey know everybody. So on any given day, man, you might have,
like, if I'm the 50th guy out of 52, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
In that gym, because that's one of the few gyms you can be like, you know what? I'm all right with that,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
because there's just straight killers in there. Do you feel like when you go to different gyms that there's certain gyms that like, yeah, he might be a blue belt or purple belt in that gym, but damn, that gym's loaded with killers?
Man,
have you seen that traveling?
Sometimes, but not necessarily with like a gym, but with a person. Like sometimes, man, you get a hold of one of these kids,
Finish a
who's
roll,
purple belt or a blue belt, and man, they're so technically sound and know like their depth of knowledge for the sport. And you know, especially out here on the West Coast, man, it seems like there's jiu-jitsu competition every weekend. So they're getting a lot of competition reps, there's a lot of training reps with a bunch of people in and out of town and consistent training partners and whatever. So I just think it's a little bit different everywhere you go. But I think it's man, jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu, man. You know, a half-guard sweep is a half-guard sweep.
right?
You know, there's just
They say at that Henzo
detail.
though in upstate New York, there's like accountants in there that are killers. Like there's like doctors.
I bet.
Yeah, they say
I
there's
bet.
just like just
But
because.
that's their atmosphere, man. They got a lot of guys who compete, so like they probably roll harder. They probably train a little bit harder.
It's just because of Gordon and Danaher. It's just
Yeah.
like there's just killers in that gym.
So you know, it's a cultural thing. Like, man, we got some guys that came from Brazil, training at my gym now, and I'm a brown belt. They're brown belts, but man, their jiu-jitsu is not the same as my jiu-jitsu, man. You know,
it's fundamentally sound. It's a little different.
Well, man, they just man, they roll with like a more of a purpose, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they use a lot of strength, speed. When I was learning jiu-jitsu, man, I just felt like I was stronger and faster than everybody, but I wasn't getting better because I was relying on attributes. So whenever I do jiu-jitsu, I try to take the attributes out so I'm learning like the technique and I can roll with everybody.
Like I went through Gracie GST, and I'll say this: like Gracie GST is similar to SBG. SBG is a little bit of a system. At least it was in Montana. It teaches like a system-based.
Sure.
You know, you go from the lower level to the comp team. It's a system-based jiu-jitsu. You're lucky because you get to travel and you get to like you go to 10 Planet. It's just like Wild West. Like you know what I mean?
Crazy shit.
There's all kinds of crazy shit, and that's good too because
Right.
it causes you the stimulus. You know what I
Right.
mean? So there's good and bad in everything. ATT is a little bit of a system. Also, ATT has it probably down the best. Gracie Baja, but it's a system, you know,
Sure.
and that's good and bad. There's good and bad. I mean, you're lucky because you get to travel and you get to experience different gyms. There's some guys that are just in the gym and that's it. And unless they have that culture, you know.
Yeah. So man, I think that traveling is key and essential to your evolution,
growth.
You know, because if you're just kind of in this bubble and this is what you're learning, this is what you're drilling. Man, I'm not a computer guy, man. I'm not gonna sit on YouTube and do all that and watch.
Yeah, I haven't done that. People do that.
It's weird. I watch fights.
Yeah.
I love watching fights, man. I rewatch fights and things like that. But man, I can get on a plane and go anywhere on this planet and like pick Coach Casey's head. Like, hey man, what do you think about this? What do you
Right.
think about this as it pertains to jiu-jitsu or as it pertains to MMA? Do you think this is good?
Casey's
for that?
funny because he has a love-hate thing with UFC and a love-hate like with the the fighting side, you know, because
Sure.
he's a true jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Yeah.
So he's always funny, you know, like I hate this or I hate this division or I hate that, you know, because he's so cerebral about jiu-jitsu, and when you roll with
Right.
him, it's like rolling with a blanket. Like it's
Yeah,
just, you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's just everywhere and it just move around you. It's like a snake. It's crazy. Jiu-jitsu is a lot of fun like that. It humbles you, but yeah, I mean, Leah humbled me a lot through the years.
I
You know,
Man, there's always dudes be like, man, I could kick this, and can't no woman kick my ass. I'm like, man, I beg to differ.
Yeah,
I
she's
beg
the
to
one-
differ.
I mean,
there's some fucking females.
there's
on
what
this planet
under
will
what is
tie your ass
it?
in
She
a
would
knot.
say it. There's like 250 or less female black belts, and she was heavyweight and a multi-time gold medalist at IBJJF level, and she is in rare air. She's just in rare company, and she's at that age and stage of the game where she just knows enough and still strong enough to roll with anybody. You know,
And also the cool thing about the IBJJF, they have those master divisions too. So even when you do get a little bit older, man, you don't have to roll with that 20-year-old, you know, motherfucker from the
there's
middle of
always
nowhere.
Yeah, I you know, I struggle with the whole competition thing, and I've had that argument with Casey. We've debated. I'm like, man, you only get on your radar if you compete. And I'm just a dude being a dude hanging out. And I'm like, and he's like, yeah, but you know, he's made me kind of see the light, like just kind of like you do your thing in the gym, just hang out and enjoy it and love it for the sport that it is.
Man, and you know, are you looking to like get your black belt? That's a goal.
You know, Ruben's talked me into that, and Leah did through the just stay with it. I look at it more as like I just stay with it, see where it goes.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just kind of enjoy it for what it is, and I'm not at that point where you can't look like that's like to me. You're at a brown belt, so you can look at that. That to me is like the ocean.
Sure.
I just got to look at the lake now.
Gotcha.
I'm just like, you know what, Sunday maybe I'll get a roll with Eryk, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Like if I look beyond that,
you can still have a goal, man. I mean, I want my black belt. Of course, it's gonna take. Several years.
I'll be honest with you, Eryk, I don't work that way. I work like breakfast is good, and then I'll think about lunch. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's too, and that's advice I give people. Like I'm a hyperactive person, you can tell that. So like I have to focus on small, achievable goals. Like people come to me all the time and they're like, man, I can't get in the gym and I can't train. I'm like, well, why? And they're like, dude, by Wednesday I quit. I'm like, so why are you trying to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I'm like, just forget about that. Start with Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Make that the goal, you know, because you're an accomplished dude, right? So for you can look beyond. You can be like, I want the UFC belt.
Yeah.
You can think like that.
Well, man, I think,
some people's brains can't get there.
Man, I like to do like short term, mid term, long term, like goals that I'm achieving, you know, a month or two.
But you have the intelligence to get there. I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm with you on the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, what am I gonna eat? We'll figure that out.
Let's just get through this. You know?
Like the main goal, like fighting, obviously, man, that's my life. That's my livelihood. That's how I provide. That's how I do all that other stuff. So of course, boom, here's the goal.
That's what makes you a pro.
For stuff like that.
You're at that pro level where you can think like that.
Yeah.
I always tell young
as
cats.
What I'm gonna do on a daily basis, I'm gonna train at some point. I'm gonna do something, you know, but it's not like.
Let's get to the juicy stuff before I cut you loose. Who do you got this year in college?
Man,
Take Alabama out of it.
Take Alabama out of it. Man, LSU has been playing really well. Man, I think the Oklahoma's definitely gonna get. I'll tell you what. Let me give you my top four.
Give me a tell you.
I think it's going to the playoffs.
I'm gonna write this down, Q, because we might have to play some action here.
Man, we're gonna get Bama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and man, I want to say Georgia or LSU, but I don't think they're gonna have two teams from the same conference ever again. Let alone two teams from the same side like they did. I think that was 2011 where LSU played Bama.
If they get two teams to the
Georgia's
SEC
ambitious.
championship undefeated.
Yeah.
Man, if Notre Dame fucks around and has a decent season,
I got to put them in, though. I know I'm putting them in. I would have put them in.
I hate Notre Dame.
I hate those motherfuckers.
Yeah, just because I'm like, man, pick a conference.
Right? They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't want to get in there because
I think they should just make a Catholic conference or a Christian conference or something like that. I think so.
Throw them in
put BC, put Notre Dame
Big
in it.
Ten or some shit.
They should have went in the ACC or Big Ten a long time ago.
I could see the ACC. I could see that.
That's ridiculous.
But they're right there in the region.
Yeah,
Like, I don't get.
ACC.
Obviously, like region doesn't matter anymore because Missouri's in the SEC.
Bro, can you pick?
I could see I'd love to see
That's weird, right?
like a religious conference like BC, Notre Dame, it's at Southern Methodist, SMU,
BYU.
Like that'd be kind of cool.
Eryk, can you picture fucking in the playoffs Oklahoma and Bama?
Oh man,
Jalen Hurts. Oh,
listen, man. I think the dude is gonna win the Heisman this year. I think he's gonna win the Heisman.
I got nothing but love for him, man.
Me neither.
I got nothing bad to say about him.
Just because, man, he's such a dynamic player, and they don't play no defense in the Big 12.
None.
Give me your NFL top four.
Patriots #1, obviously, and then from there it's really kind of.
You got New Orleans. I love New Orleans this year. Dallas.
No, not Dallas. Dallas always finds a way to shoot themselves.
I know, but I want to either see Breeze and Brady or Patriots and Dallas.
I don't know if Breeze got the arm. That arm was dead.
Nah, New Orleans is loaded this year, man.
They were last year, loaded. But that arm was dead at the end of the season.
Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself talking like that.
Patriots #1 for sure.
That's the only record Brady will never have.
What's
Breeze's yards. He'll never pass that.
Man, fuck that. He got rings, man. He got rings. don't care about passing championships.
But once you get one ring, isn't it enough?
Hell no. My man got 5.
I just want him to say it, Q. I just want him to say it. He's got 6, but who's counting?
6. Okay. All right.
Who's counting?
Might get 7 this year. Who knows?
Oh, they're gonna be a video game this year if Antonio Brown can get his act
without
together.
injuries. There's no stopping him, dude.
Is Josh Gordon? Is he suspended or anything? Is he
No,
playing?
he's
he
straight.
caught a touchdown. He had almost
he's
like
straight
100 yards
then.
and a touchdown.
Man, they get him and AB on the same page.
I love Josh. I love
But
Josh
my dog,
Gordon.
listen, man, my dog just caught that sexual assault, dog. They not messing around with that kind of stuff in the NFL.
Everybody's getting grabbed now.
You don't want to know what I think, brother.
I go, you gonna speak your opinion?
No,
I need to see like I just know that he got like
the crazy thing about the Patriots is they
do.
The Patriots do these sleeper moves. Like they dealt away Demaryius Thomas quietly to the Jets, and they pick up a pick. They do shit like that. That's like super under the radar.
But man, they do acquire like big name people who are having like trouble in their career, like an Antonio Brown. Or man, what's the dude from Oregon who hit the kid?
The running back.
Running back. Blunt.
Fucking Blunt, yeah.
Man, they get guys like that.
Oh, Corey Dillon, Randy
Yeah.
Moss.
Clock
Ocho
killing
Cinco,
Corey
fucking-
Dillon was the best.
All of it.
1,600 yards, and Cincinnati cast him away like he had 7 forms of cancer.
Yeah.
He just came in, did his business. They marched. That was the best Patriots team ever, 2004. That was the best team. They were loaded.
Several.
They were loaded. They were stupid loaded. The defense was loaded. They might be the best secondary this year they've ever had.
Yeah.
Mixed in with the best receiving core, even better than the Moss year. Moss was the best superstar they ever had, hands down. But they're so loaded this year and so lethal. Like that Moss team, people forget, man, how loaded that team was. They had Wes Welker. They had that other receiver. What's his face? You know who I mean? They had like people riding the bench that were
I
like.
still say that's the best team ever, regardless.
They had
of the
Junior
championship.
Seau coming off the bench, fucking around. Like that's just like, you know what I mean? He was just like bona fide Hall of Famer. Like I'll play a few downs.
Even though they didn't win, I'm still putting them up. I mean, they ain't gonna never be my '85 Bears.
That
but
team in the
they're still there.
'98 Vikings team that didn't win were the 2 best teams ever to win not win a championship, hands down.
Oh, that Vikings team.
That Vikings team was loaded with CC and Mon. They were just stacked.
Cole
And they lose to the
Pepper,
Falcons.
Chris
I think.
Carter.
They lost to the Falcons in the last minute.
God, that was
it was a
terrible.
botched field goal, I believe.
They were supposed to win,
And they were
multiple.
stupid loaded. I can't wait to talk about this with Heath Evans too. He'll be all over it. But
they got my dog Dante Hightower on the squad, man.
Is he
Fucking
awesome
Yeah,
or
he's
what?
still getting it. He's
Man,
still
let me
getting
tell
it.
you something about that dude.
Yeah, tell me
man.
a story about him.
Man, I've never seen somebody at 18-year-olds built like Dante. And he's not like a super ripped up, like he doesn't have a 6-pack or nothing like that. But, man, you look at this dude and you just like see the girth of his bone structure. And, man, he came in at 18 years old, freshman in college, with a over 400-pound bench press, squatting the house, power clean ridiculous. And he was like, and I was like, man, so if he's lifting all that way, he got to be big and stiff. Man,
I
he
remember
could
this.
jump,
Okay, so people ask me
loose.
this.
Man,
I've been around a lot of people, and people say to me, I've been asked this a couple of times, like, who's the best athlete you ever seen? I said, with my own eyes, do something athletic. I said, I seen Sproles run by me.
Yeah.
And that was the
Slow
freakiest
motion.
fucking thing I ever seen in my life. Like, you saw him run by you at Kansas, and you're like, that dude's going to play on Sunday.
Dude, Dexter McCluster, we were playing Ole Miss, and we caught a pick, and I'm sprinting.
And I see you light up because you know what I'm talking about. Like, you
I'm
seen
not-
just a dude move, and you were just like, whoa.
I'm not a slow dude, man. And so I'm sprinting down the field trying to catch a block, and, man, this dude just ran past me.
Like you weren't there.
And like it wasn't even moving.
And he looked at you, and he winked.
Nah, well, he was going to catch the dude. He ended up making the tackle. But, man, I was running, and he was behind me. He just zooms out. Oh, shit. I just went ahead and took
There's
it to the
always that
sideline.
moment.
Man, it's a wrap.
I tell people all the time, I seen Sproles run by on a kick return, and I remember being like,
It's a flash.
and I'm talking about like you might have to take the field against that dude, and you're like, no.
Yeah.
No. Like that's like people know what I'm talking about. We played Marshall. There was there. I didn't travel that week. I don't think that was back. It was before the broken leg game. It was and like you just seen the ball go by you like the zip, and you were like, that just happened?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
stuff like that. Like you see shit like that happen to you in front of you. I'm talking about like at the field level, and you're like, God damn, like that's legit, you know, and stuff like that. Like, you know, and then you get to doing jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, and you see, you know, Ben Saunders hit a move. And
Yeah.
you're just like, Vinny was the same. Vinny was that way. Vinny hit a move on me one time. I was like, all right, I just gotta leave now.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it.
But man, dudes like that, you're gonna get fucked up. So
It's just-
like man, Vinny be hit me with some, you know, off the wall shit, and I just, you know.
But he might be the best jiu-jitsu guy.
Shrug that shit
could,
off
yeah,
and
he
keep
could be
moving.
the best jiu-jitsu guy on the planet. I mean, that's
Yeah.
real. Like I'm,
Yeah.
you know, pound for pound. I know, you know, Gordon Ryan. Like, you know what I'm saying. But like I'm saying, like you're in that space now.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
in that real space. He's hitting flying fucking, you know, arm bars and shit. Like, you know, but it's crazy, Q. I know you know what I'm talking about. Like when you see athletes and you just see some freaky shit. Like I never seen Bo Jackson at a field level, but you just see some shit. And you're
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Whoa."
Man, he's still like very well put together.
Oh yeah.
Man, I seen him, you know, a few years ago at some charity thing, and I was just like, man, this dude. I have no idea how old he is, but he played in the late '80s, early '90s, so I would imagine he's got to be in his 50s somewhere.
Is he the best athlete that ever lived?
Probably so.
I would have said Dion. I put Dion a C hair above him.
I don't know, just because of size and girth alone, they're probably just as fast as each other.
I only say Dion because he batted 300 and he played in a World Series. He played obviously in a Super Bowl. You know, Dion just, you know, all of it, the total package. I mean, he could
Yeah.
steal 3 bases on you. You know what I mean? Hit a triple and
I don't
just
know, man. When you look at
Man,
the size of him, it's hard not to look at Bo.
Dion's
Yeah.
right there though.
Bo
I mean,
Jackson
Dion's
was-
right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Bo Jackson was a problem, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Dion was a 5-tool baseball player, hands down, and he was every bit of an All-Pro in football. Hall of
Man,
Famer.
is it Bo Jackson, All-Pro in baseball?
yeah.
He was a
yeah.
league all-star. I will say this about Bo. He wasn't a. I know people would kill me for this.
And just because he played in the outfield, man, he's running down.
Let me say this.
Pop flies.
That
and shit.
size, man.
The hard part with Bo
breaking
is
the bat over his leg.
yeah,
every
over
time
his
he
head.
shot.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, with the hard part with Bo is we didn't get enough of a sample in him at his best in baseball. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
he could play the field. He could do everything. If I was drafting a team tomorrow, would I want Bo or Dion? That's
Dion is probably more versatile because he can run and
He
catch.
just could-
and play defense.
Dion he'd hit 300. You know, he'd rip off 30 bases. Like that's no. I'm saying this like no problem.
Man, I think that Dion's the only person in life to hit a home run and score a touchdown. What's the stat I say? He like scored
same day, yeah,
in
something
like
crazy.
the fucking same weekend or some shit like that.
I don't know. It's a tough one. Like you said, Bo because of the size, and he played running back, so it's a little. You know, corners get a bad
I
rap.
bet you that dude could run routes slow, man.
Yeah, corners get a bad rap because you don't see a lot of what they do.
Yeah.
The coverage. You don't see it until a sack is made or like, you know, a quarterback has nowhere to throw and they're like, oh, what happened? You know,
Yeah,
dumb
yeah.
fans are like, what happened? I'm like, they know where to throw. They
Yeah.
did their job. Dion just was flashier than Bo, so
Yeah.
that kind of threw it in people's face more. And Bo was quiet about it. I think if we got a bigger sample in baseball, the problem with home run hitters, Bo was a home run hitter. And the problem with home run hitters is they strike out a lot.
Sure.
That's the downside. So Dion, when you look at it, Bo had probably more total bases in that sample that we would look at if we would compare them over a 3-year span. But Dion probably had more quality. You know, it was like, you know, he had more total bases because the home runs give you 4. You know,
A
the way it
more
works.
complete player.
Yeah, Dion might have been more of a complete player. I don't know. The debate could
That's
rage
probably a
on.
mindset thing.
Yeah.
Bo is probably, man, I'm finna crack this motherfucker.
It's some
Way over
people that I
defensive.
wish you could see in offenses. Like you were saying, Eric, can you imagine Bo catching a fucking pass in the flat in the open space?
Yeah,
man?
you know, just
Oh,
have,
no.
have him run like a
oh my
little,
God.
you know, a little K protection.
in an Earhart
Oh,
Perkins
yeah.
or
Oh,
in a
But they
you
weren't
know, in a
doing that
spread,
back
in a
then.
true spread, a spread we know now, not like a K gun back then, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, like or anything like that, but in a real spread off the line, like he would have taken less of a beating, he would have been more prolific, you know, something like a swing route, just like or something like
Oh man,
just
check down.
not even a check
What-
down.
yeah,
like,
who's keeping up with him? What linebacker? What like? Oh,
Imagine him in a spread, catching like a Julian Edelman and having a wave of blockers, like just be stupid. Like you just don't see that now. They worked out of the eye then. It was all broken eye.
I bet you he could do everything, especially because, man, he's fast, man.
Bo,
really
I
fast.
love Bo. I tell you this though, I love Bo because in the 30 for 30, he said like I used to say, because I would get thrown off the football team 10 times because I hated practice. Bo hated practice. Like he'd say like I didn't understand all that unnecessary running. Like he had the same mindset I had. Like I'd show up to practices in high school. I'd be like, because I was a weightlifter. I was in shape. I showed up every day in shape. I just didn't understand any of that. Like the hitting.
But man, I think. Like he's on such a different level in terms of athleticism.
Yeah, like you said, like Dante.
A lot of shit probably just came supernatural. And man, listen, man, I bet you he did enjoy practice a little bit. Maybe not like the sprints at the end. Maybe not all the extra lifting, because he ain't need to do like any lift, man. He's a big, strong dude anyway. Still to this day, is a very well put together dude.
He loves archery too. Loves like outdoors and shooting sports and stuff like that.
He's a good old country boy, man.
He's a good old country
boy.
boy.
From McCullough.
What'd you think? What'd you think checking out the guns here and everything?
Oh man, they're cool, man. He said they're gonna take me out here shooting.
Yeah,
next
we'll
time.
Next time you're in town. I know you're busy. You're running around this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, is that something? Is that an Alabama thing? Like you guys are just all like, because that's Bo's thing. Like you're just an outdoors freak and you just love that shit.
Me. Like I said, man, recovery is such a big part of the training. Man, if I'm not at the gym, man, I'm at the house just kicking it.
Let me blow you motherfuckers away real quick. I thought I had saw this sometime, but I pulled it up. Bo was 6'1", 230. He ran a fucking 4.13.
Yeah, he's got like the fastest combine 40, right?
4.13. 6'1".
Is it still the fastest?
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but Deion's famous thing was he did it with his shoes untied or something. Like he was like, I do it. He did it.
No, I'm not even saying like best ever or anything. I'm just purely talking about 230 running a 4.1. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's a lot of explosion.
Deion's thing was, I think he said he did it with his shoes untied.
Oh man,
when he did that Leon Sandcastle thing, that was hilarious.
That shit was funny, right? Yeah.
He was like, she was like, you a football player? And he was like, I was a football player. He's like, what about my prime? Like he was so funny. And I believe it, like for a long time, like he was playing corner, he's playing nickel corner at like 41 years old or something, for the Ravens
for the
that
Ravens,
time.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so freaky, and I mean, it's crazy. You go back, you can't on YouTube because it's just the shit's too grainy, but like you watch him returning punts at Florida State and stuff like kicks.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Some of those guys just made that explosion.
Who do you think? I got to ask you because this is fun. I could do this all day with you, and we can't. But because I know you got to go. But like, who was the freakiest athlete back in the day that like you wish you saw? Or like you look back and you're like, damn.
Man, growing up, I was a huge. Like I don't have idols. I've just been like dudes.
No, like, people you admire from a distance.
Yeah,
you're like,
man,
damn.
I always thought Barry Sanders was the coldest running back of all time. He could lower his shoulder, but man, he just made dudes look so stupid trying to tackle him.
See, I'm probably a little like you in the sense that there's not guys like I don't get starstruck. That's why I have some of the friends. Like I'm just kind of like whatever. Like I just like I'll talk to you or like anyone like they're my neighbor. Like I don't care. But there's dudes you look at that you're like, damn, I wish I could have had a shot at tackling him just to see.
Oh, fuck.
That's how I am.
I didn't want to get embarrassed. I just want a picture with old Barry.
I'll take the embarrassment. Like I always said, like that's why it worked for me and Leah, because I take the beating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care. I'll take the beating. And that's how I was with Tony. Like people always like, oh, you trained with Tony like this many times and you went out to the range and like that's crazy, or you did combatives with Ruben, that's nuts, and I'm like, I don't care, I'll take the beating.
Yeah.
Or like when I walk on the mat, the first person I'll line up with's Ben. I don't care.
Like man, there's this play, Detroit versus
New England, I think.
New England. And man, he just made Ty Law
look stupid.
Look so dumb. Just man, had him turned. I was like, man,
turned him around.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's so many of those clips. Yeah, I wish I'll say this. I wish I could have fully appreciated. And Q knows what I'm going to say. Once I say it, I was too young, and I'm going to be a homer for a second. I fully appreciate what Tom Brady's doing. That's why everyone in here wants to stab me. But I wish I could have fully appreciated Larry Bird, because I know he's a white boy, Q, I get it.
Talk that shit too.
But he talked so much shit.
That's my favorite thing about Larry Bird.
He talked so much shit, and he was the best white basketball player that ever walked the planet. And I'm gonna make it about race for a second because he was lethal. He'd look you right in the eye and say, "I'm gonna shoot right there," and he'd drop the shot. He did the 3-point He told everybody to go home during the 3-point contest because he was gonna win, and the check was his. And he did it in the warm-up jacket, and he put the hand up while the shot was in the air. Like that is cold-blooded.
Yeah,
that takes stone cold. And being who he was, and back then race mattered. Now nobody cares. But like, truthfully, but back then he was just like, I'm here, I'm nasty, I can drop shots on anybody, and I'm gonna do it. And I get it, Michael Jordan, it's gonna be your time, but right now it's my time, and I'm gonna do it. And he did it. Like there was 6-7 years in there. I'm not talking about like his whole career, because towards the end he was dust. But from 79, 80 to 87. He just lit it up. 3 MVPs, just winning 3-point contests, just lighting it up, and talking shit to everybody along the way. I mean, he did shit to Reggie Miller that made him look so dumb. Yeah. He did stuff to people.
And a little mustache, too.
Yeah, and he came back. And I have respect for him because I respect coaches. And he came back and he did it as a coach, and he did it as a general manager. And he did a great job. And along the way, I know he made his enemies and this and that, and he was a cheap motherfucker, and I'll say it. But, it's just how he was. He was just like, he was a white boy from French Lick, and that's just how he did it. And he just did his business. But he could drop shots on anybody. You pull highlights up of him, and he was just boom, boom, boom. And he threw passes. And everybody said it. They were like, we didn't fear anybody but Larry Bird.
Yeah,
and they were just
like, man.
Just because he make us look stupid. And Magic used to say it all the time. Magic was the best player in the world. There was no doubt about that.
100.
He was the best player in the world. But Larry would come in and be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And in
that's how you have to be as sometimes I'm never the best athlete, but, man, he just has that competitive mindset.
And in 84, that series, you go back and you watch that 30 for 30, the Lakers and the Celtics, and they just had wars from 81 to 87. Yeah. And the Lakers took it. They had better. 86, the Celtics were unstoppable. That was the best team ever. They were unstoppable. They were 40-1 at home. They were unstoppable. They dropped one game in the Garden the whole way through the playoffs.
Shit.
They lit everybody up. They destroyed Houston 4-2 in the playoffs. Didn't even matter. And they just destroyed everybody. I mean, the margin of victory was like 20 points almost every night in the wins. And they were just absolutely lethal. They had Bill Walton. They had Danny Ainge. They had McHale. They had Parrish. They had everybody. And then before that 86 team when they had Cornbread, I mean, people forget how good he was. He was nasty. And Larry was just in the middle, just like, phew, 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 phew. And it was just sick. It was just the Celtics were sick then. But the Lakers were better. I mean, in the end, the Lakers were the better franchise in that span, and Magic was the best player in the world. There's no doubt about that. And then Jordan came on.
And then the Bulls came and wiped all that shit away.
No, I don't think the Bulls had a better team. I don't think.
Chicago
No,
Eric,
I don't think that. What was
Eric.
it? The '93 Bulls? Was it the '93 team or the '96 team?
What?
That was like unstoppable.
Shit.
Both.
You pick either one.
No, who's the
but
team?
The best team ever was the '96 Bulls.
No, it was the '80. It was the '86 Celtics.
No, not even close. 72.
Compare them.
It's been done.
The records are the same. Go compare them.
It's been done over and over.
Because the Celtics going into that season with the Bulls,
96 Bulls are the best.
they only lost
ever.
one game at home. Both teams only lost one game at home.
I don't know, man. I think the Golden State in past recent years, man.
The competition isn't there. It's not. The competition is there because the league now.
You have 5 All-Stars, man.
The problem is in the league now is you have a concentration of there's 4 good teams and everyone else sucks.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Back then, and I'll give Q credit, back then even with the Bulls teams, in the Celtics and Lakers teams, go look at the teams that lost.
Yeah.
The Pistons, the Hawks with Dominique, those teams were loaded. The Cavs back then, they were loaded teams that just lost. Go look at those playoff rosters.
I was off one year, so it's the night because they won 3. It was the 95-96 Bulls. They're universally regarded as the best.
Yeah. What was the 86 Celtics record?
Let me see, because I think they were number 86. Yeah, well, 86, 87 Lakers are number 2. 85, 86 Celtics are number 3.
Yeah, because that Celtics team had
67.
Bill Walton Hall of Fame, Larry Bird Hall of Fame, McHale Hall of Fame, Parrish Hall of Fame, and I think they had Danny Ainge, but he became a GM. He's not a Hall of Fame for being a player. He'd probably go in as an executive. But yeah, they were just loaded. They were just loaded. Stupid. Awesome. That was a great time for hoops, man.
Yeah.
That was an awesome time for hoops.
Nothing like
But
it.
yeah,
I flop too much now, I think.
Yeah, now it's just you have too many.
It's Paul Pierce's fault, as a matter of
Paul
fact.
Pierce's fault.
You
have what you have now in the NBA. The problem you have now is you have talent. So I'm not saying there's no talent. You have talent. You're right. But the concentration of talent is just too focused on like 4 teams.
Hey, Eryk, Boston started that shit too with that big 3 shit.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Remember? That was Boston too with that bullshit.
First of all, Parrish was a journeyman center when they got him, and he was.
No, I'm talking about Garnett and fucking
Garnett.
Paul Pierce.
No, the original big 3 was
Ray Allen.
Bird, McHale, and Parrish.
You know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, but you're wrong. But you're wrong. That was the original big 3, and then I'll give Michael Cooper and Magic and Kareem. Was the other. They were loaded. I mean, I take nothing away from the Lakers.
Yeah.
Nothing. The Celtics were the originals, but the Lakers were right there. Their showtime was retarded. It was ridiculous. And they had Pat Riley, and I always wish Pat Riley coached the Celtics because he was awesome.
Pat Riley's a cool
He was
motherfucker
cool,
too,
as shit,
man.
cool as ice. Yeah, so, I mean, I wish I could play. See, I talk about basketball like I could play. I suck so bad.
I suck at basketball too, man.
See, too.
I say it all the time, Q, don't I? I'm like, I loved hoops, but, man, I sucked.
Yeah.
We have the biggest hoop debates. Man, I could do this all day with you. I could do this all
It's
day.
fun.
You're cool. It's just
Let him get out of here. He tired
Yeah, I
of
gotta let
us,
him jump.
man. He
I had a
tired
lot
of
of fun
us.
with you, man.
Man,
Seriously.
pleasure, my pleasure.
And
man.
we share similar roots in SPG and everything. And I got the most respect for you watching your fights and the way you carry yourself and just the way you carry yourself even on. I know online's fake, but like you know what I mean on the internet
sure.
and shit. And tell everybody where they can find you and your social media and everything.
Man, y'all can get at me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Eryk Anders, ERYKANDERS. There you go.
And he's got an awesome page, guys. Do you answer DMs or no?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, slide into the DM. Be appropriate. And he's
Don't
married,
be
ladies. Stop it.
Don't be talking that shit neither, man.
Don't be taking your pants off. Keep your pants on. But you'll be training here, but you're based out of Bama, Georgia now, and that's where you train in the SPG. Where else are you training? Where can people bump into you?
Man, I'm predominantly in Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll be a little bit everywhere, man.
All right. So make sure you check him out. Check out his sponsors. Check out his companies. Eryk's a cool dude, man. I had the opportunity to bump into him last time he was up. I saw your wife wearing a Celtics jersey. That was the first time I was like, Boston, huh? I was like, that's cool. And you looked at me like, don't look at my wife.
Yeah.
I'll fucking break
man,
you. No.
See, this is the thing, man. I know my wife very easy on the eyes, and we'll be walking, and she don't even. She says she don't notice. Mom's like, man, you should be looking at the way people look at you.
It's crazy how women say that, huh?
Man,
they pull that card all the time.
Nah, man, I'm not listening to that shit. It's just sometimes it's like too obvious, like But I get it. She's easy on the eyes. And,
you got a great family, man, and you do it right. And I respect the shit out of you, and I mean that. And I love having you in, man. When Dom suggested connecting us, I was like, yeah, man, I love his vibe, man. He's chill. And being a Bama boy, Q perked right up like, what?
Roll Tide.
He said, what? Q was like, yeah, Bama.
Roll Tide.
So I appreciate you coming down, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Man, my pleasure, brother.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll see you Sunday for sure.
Yes, sir. I'll be there for sure.
For sure. All right, we're out.